this is just first impressions, so stay tuned to this channel. This whole thing might unravel unceremoniously at some point, but things like the pins, the bushings, the hydraulic cylinders, the fittings, the routing of the cylinders, the fit, the finish, the welds on the boom and the stick, everything seems really, really solid. And before I finalized the purchase, the independent mechanic that I have great faith and trust in verified. Hey, 82 Maple, where change is a constant. And if you'd had a conversation with me 6 months ago, I'd have bet heavily against you in terms of the odds that I would ever own a Chinese mini-excavator. What are you even talking about? If you've not watched part 1 of this series, I've provided a link down below to give you a little bit of context and background about what it is we're talking about. I know that the thumbnail for this video said 5 pros and 5 cons, but you know what? There's only so much room on a thumbnail. And what I'm really meaning to talk about is how to adjust your expectations relative to a Chinese mini excavator versus any experience that you might have had, your friends might have had, etc., with a product from a big 3, big 5, big 7 manufacturer. So right here, where you'd expect me to start by listing the 5 pros, I want to make sure I don't mischaracterize what I'm going to say. And so the best thing I can say is here's how to adjust expectations and benefits of what it is you're going to experience. So let's get started with what I like most. Hey, the price point. It's literally a third of what you'd experience with one of the major manufacturers or suppliers. That's number 1. Number 2, I wanted a reliable engine. And what I've got is a Kubota engine with all of the reliability that infers. Number 3, I can source and buy parts locally, and that includes anything that I need relative to servicing the Kubota engine. Parts, whether it's for the hydraulic lines, the fittings, or the engine, and we'll walk around the back here. I'll just give you a quick view. It has super easy access. You know what? I have qualified suppliers and service departments within 45 minutes of here. Number 4, the overall quality, and again, this is just first impressions, so stay tuned to this channel. This whole thing might unravel unceremoniously at some point, but things like the pins, the bushings, the hydraulic cylinders, the fittings, the routing of the cylinders, the fit, the finish, the welds on the boom and the stick, everything seems really, really solid. And before I finalized the purchase, the independent mechanic that I have great faith and trust in verified all of what I just said. And again, without Coral or me tying up a lot of capital, reference part 1 of this series, we were able to get a digging tooth as an optional attachment, a trenching bucket, a regular bucket, a landscape bucket. If you notice this hydraulic hose hanging out here, that's for the tilt on the hydraulic bucket. And we've got fencing to do here. And so a post hole auger that we can put pressure on, plus the attachment that's on the machine right at this point, which is a rake. We've already used that to clean up a bunch of fall blowdown, and all of that was built into the price. Not bad. One thing that I just missed mentioning And that's probably the most valuable component on this entire machine. And that is this little quick attach assembly right in here. There's all sorts of stories of folks buying Chinese mini-excavators and saying, oh, they're cumbersome to use, etc., etc. Well, yeah, if you can't change attachments, and yes, this is not a production machine. I acknowledge that fully in part 1 of this series, but you know what? I want to swap out any of those components quickly and easily, and that quick attach is a must. That was all included in the final transaction. Hey, not bad. Okay, so let's jump into the expectation resets. These are not cons. These are simply a readjustment of what you expect of a machine. Again, I need this machine 40 to 60 hours a year. And so warranty for me is not an issue. A 2-year warranty, hey, nothing's going to manifest itself from a reputable manufacturer in the first 125 hours. And so why am I paying for that warranty? Scrub that off the list. But again, I'm running, as some people would say, naked on this, meaning I own any of the issues that come up with this machine outside of the first year of parts and the first 90 days of service. And I'm okay with that. Number 2, in terms of expectation readjustments. Again, this is not a production machine. Come around the back end of this machine and we'll see what we mean. So these are the drive motors. They're totally exposed. Don't go running this over a rock pile and then saying, you know what? I don't understand why that broke. There's no belly pan under this machine. That's something I can resolve if I want, and it's going to cost me a couple $100. I have a mechanic friend, who's also a welder. We can fix that. The ring gear for turning the house is also exposed. That's not a worry to me. I'm not on a production job on this thing. Just knowing that, I can take care of it. But it's an adjustment of expectation. Hey, look at this cab. Wow, it's tiny. This is built for someone that is smaller than me. I'm 5'9". Hey, maybe Coral doesn't even know what I weigh. I weigh 170 pounds, and I just am feeling totally confined. If you're 6'2" and 250 pounds, this is not going to be a pleasant experience for you. I'd love to see the pictures of that. Okay, I'm hanging here. I'm just going to relax in this seat. But while I tell you that the hydraulic pump, it does not have the capacity of a John Deere, a Cat, or some other brand names that you could mention. Hey, you know, I've heard a lot of complaints about the little Chinese excavators and how some of them are hitting North America with only one function being available at a time. Meaning, if I go to move my boom, I cannot at the same time do something else, like swing the house around, for example. Well, I'm only at half throttle, and this is doing just fine. Oh, that was me. I'm holding the camera with one hand and trying to do too many things here. But I know this isn't under load, but we've got good functionality, and furthermore, I'm going to put this in motion. And so to do that on here, I wish I had the little floor pedals that I had on another machine, but I'm just going to push forward. There we are, we're traveling, and I'm again only at barely half throttle. You just heard me throttle it up there a little bit, and we're in motion. We're going to Whoa, our scenery's changing. What's going on? Yeah, at a little more than half throttle, I've got swing here, and we're still making forward progress. That was something that was high on my tick list of things for the mechanic to check before I took delivery, and it passes with flying colors. Good on you. Oh, whoa. And now we get to the biggest expectation adjustment you're going to encounter, and that is travel speed. My little Cat 302.5, you know what? It had a little kick pedal down here. I would just put my heel down on the floor and I would hit it, and I had a great little travel speed, and I'd go rattling along. And rattling it truly was, but I was making progress. So what I did is I took a measuring tape and staked out a little section to see how much ground this would cover in 2 minutes. Hey, guess how much ground it covered in 2 minutes? 170 feet. Now, that was 2 minutes, so multiply that by 30 to see what you would cover in an hour, and 30 times 170 feet, hey, you're just about at a mile. So let's give this little unit the benefit of the doubt. On full throttle, yeah, I got a throttle thing over here, I covered a mile over the course of an hour. Our neighbor Lori, that we share a fence with, has a little project for me to do in the next day or two. So I'm going to have to rattle down 800 feet of our driveway from where this machine is sitting right now, do a 180-degree corner, and then I'm going to have to go up her driveway, which is 800 feet, and then I need to go about 400 feet into a backfield where she needs a little hole dug. Do the math on all of that. I don't know what it is, but it's 30 or 40 minutes. So the bottom line is I've got our F-350 and the flat deck trailer sitting over there. Yeah, that's going to be pressed into service because I can literally load this little unit, throw a strap on it, drive over to the job site, offload it in a fraction of the time it's going to take me to drive over there. I have no idea what it costs a manufacturer to put that road gear into one of these units, but you know what? If that's going to be an issue for you, you want to stop right here and now and probably not proceed with the purchase of one of these machines because you're going to find it really interesting. What I've done is invested in audiobooks. So I have a great opportunity to get deep into an audiobook while I'm going over to do a little project for the neighbor. Oh, wow. Did you just see me coming out of the machine? I had to contort myself. It's late in the day and the joints are stiffening up. But here's the last thing. So I think I covered 5 items here. Bonus, here's item number 6. Let's go over here. Grease fittings. So if that looks new, it is. Yeah, but the rest of the machine is new. And down here, if this looks new, yep, it is. So I've replaced all of the grease fittings on this machine, 100% of them. I don't know, there's 32 or 34 or 36 or something like that, including the attachments. But they had Zerk fittings, which are standard from another continent. I despise Zerk fittings. That's just personal opinion. You might love them. I like the standard North American grease fittings. And so all of those have been replaced on this machine. Just a heads up, hey, expectation, readjustment. None of the things I've mentioned are a big deal to me. You decide if they're a big deal to you. Hey, in the meanwhile, thank you for being part of my journey. If you have any questions whatsoever, hey, just shoot me a comment. And you know what? Your question might actually become the content for a whole nother video. Thank you for being part of my journey here. This is as much an apprehension and a journey for me as it might be for you. So let's hang in. We're all in this together. 8 fingers, 2 thumbs here from 82 Maple, and let's just enjoy the journey.